Hello, interwebs. 'Tis I, Sebastian Michoni from Famous Faces and Funnies and GonnaGeek.com, and this is F3G2, and we got a big old stack of books for you as we pick up where Free Comic Day left off, and get ready for it if you're in the area. Free Comic Book May continues here at Famous Faces and Funnies. That's right, all 5 Saturdays in May, you get 10 free comics. You buy stuff and then you buy at least $3 worth of crap each week. You get free trades at the end. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. But I got a stack of very non-free books that I am going to review for you today. Starting with Original Sin. Everybody's got one. Alas, poor watcher. See, when you're the watcher, you watch everything. So there's no one there to tell you to watch out. Whoever it was that killed him, he saw it. His last words are, "You." Or "I see you." Or something to the effect that lets him know the element of surprise doesn't work on someone called the Watcher, obviously. But, you know, bullets still do. So there's that. It was good. It was, you know, but I'm leery as always. I mean, it's Jason Aaron, so I have a lot of faith in it. But I'm leery as always with Marvel events because I always think they start great and they tend to end more with a lot more whimpers than there are bangs in Marvel events, in Marvel event endings. But original Nick Fury is back, and despite his retirement, decides he's the only one he can trust. So the moon is his crime scene, and he's going to investigate. Which is ironic that they kill the Watcher, take both his eyes, and a one-eyed man is on the case. All New X Factor was so good up until the end. Peter David, you better not have just killed one of my boys after I had to wait as long as I did to get them back. So, I'll give you a hint. One of the characters in this book may have died. I'll give you another hint. He's on this cover. I'm subtle. Also, I think Warlock and Danger may be the best. I won't dare to say they're a couple, but they may be the best character interaction like ever. Future's End #1. I like this better than I like the Zero issue. We get, you know, they made the big deal of, you know, Firestorm kills somebody, but does he really kill someone, or is his just his kind of ineptitude, selfishness, or half of his ineptitude, selfishness, the Ronnie half, end up preventing them from being where they should be to save somebody's life? It's really more of that, which is a lot easier for me to swallow. Bad things happen for the Authority. But really, let's face it, they're getting merged into the DC Universe made them targets because they're already redundant as a kind of Justice League amalgam, but also their power levels prove that having them around makes actually them not the redundancy, but the Justice League redundant. But the Justice League didn't get merged into the Wildstorm universe. The Authority got merged into the DC universe, so they don't get top billing. So things go not well for them at all. I do like, I don't know, I stopped reading the New 52 Authority, so I don't know if they did this in there, but I do like the idea to all of Jack Hawksmore's word balloons have kind of like a city grid map look to them, and I like that. But yeah, we also get a look at, you know, Brother Eye is the big bad, and Brother Eye in the New 52 is not built by Batman. Batman is off the hook for Brother Eye building. No guilt for Batman there. Someone else built it. Spoiler in 3, 2, 1. Mr. Terrific, what the hell were you thinking? Didn't you read the old Batman comics from pre-New 52? You'd see Brother Eye was clearly a bad idea. But I guess you did not read that. Oh, Mr. Terrific. Not so terrific now, are we? But it was good. Has muchos potentiales, and it's very well written and very solid. So I like Rat Queens #6 is the best. Look at this cover. Look at this cover B. All right, these covers are reruns. All right, but it's this wraparound of all of them. I want a poster. I may buy another copy, and then I won't be able to rip the cover off. What I'll end up doing is folding the back comic like this and just putting this in a frame and just hanging that baby up. Look at that. Look at that. All right, our friend Chris, I'm gonna get his girlfriend. She wants to cosplay as Dee. All right, so I want to get Angie to go as Violet, and we've got our friend Jared's ex, who would be perfect for. We make a perfect smidgen. We just need a Hannah. Is really all we need. We got a Molly, a Violet, and a D. We need a Hannah, and of course we've got Sexy Dave, big cameraman, as Ogre Dave, really, Orc Dave, because well he's got the name and he's got the orc, so it works. This was great. A lot of stuff happens in this issue. This book is great. Buy the trade, buy the issues, read the. No one we've turned onto this has been disappointed. This is the greatest. Even if you think that's not going to be your thing, it is your thing. This book is just hysterical and so well written. All right, Curtis Weiss does a really, really good job of writing believable women that don't sound like they're written by a man trying to write believable women. That's a hell of a thing. I'm not going to get cliche and say, you know, writing strong female characters, because they're more than strong, and it's their occasional frailties, like any other character. It's their frailties that make them believable characters, and it's perfect. And they just really sound like friends. I'm starting to, you know, in order to write friends who just sound that much like friends, either means that Curtis Weiss knows people just like this, or he's got, you know, some kind of multi-personality thing going on. The Movement, number 12, makes me really sad because I'm the only one reading it, apparently, and that's why it is over. And you guys suck. You have failed me. You have failed me, free world. You have failed me. I'm going to get so backed up and need like Metamucil. You know why? After today, I will never have another Movement.
Really?
Really. You didn't read my book, and now I won't give a shit. Oh, I'm tired of these jokes. Yep, I'm pooped. Alright, Cyclops, number 1, is really good. Who wrote this? This is Rucka? Well, that makes sense. Alright, artwork, I don't know who Doberman is, but artwork is really nice. Story is super well done. The young Cyclops, talk about second chances. You know, Cyclops thinks his parents are dead, finds out his father's alive. Cyclops becomes kind of a dick. His father becomes kind of distant in space. Young Cyclops comes to the future, gets another so he already had a second chance. He's reunited with his father. Now, young him comes back and gets another second chance to reunite with a second chance. Not really a third chance because it's a separate him, but a second chance to reunite with his father, who now has a second chance to be a good father. And it's really, really good. And ultimately, it's called Cyclops because Marvel's not stupid. It's really Cyclops and the Starjammers. But calling a book Starjammers doesn't help sales. Calling a book Cyclops does. Really, what this is a it's a very X-Men universe. Like if Avengers of the Guardians of the Galaxy are like Avengers in space, this is like the X-Men's answers to Avengers in space. That's really what it's really what this feels like. It's Starjammers is a lovely non-tie-in companion to Guardians of the Galaxy. Really good. Check that out. I said check it. The Woods, number 1. So good. I interviewed James Tinian over this. I did an interview with him online. For Gonna Geek, you can check that out. You can check that out on Gonna Geek. I'll see if I can get Steven to put a link in the, you know, underneath this on Gonna Geek. So if you're watching this on Gonna Geek, maybe there's a link there to the interview, so you can read that. This was really, really good. It's a co-ed Lord of the Flies meets Lost in Space. The the scarier Gary Oldman Lost in Space, not the cutesy,
the movie,
effeminate man and a robot and a kid chilling TV show. This a private school ends up just one day. There's like a rumbling, and they find themselves on an alien planet, and they don't know how. Shit starts coming out of the woods and starts killing people. This handful of kind of social outcasts. Well, they're all sort of social outcasts. It's a private school, but social outcasts within a school of social outcasts kind of come together and and one of them figures out whatever's going on, we need to get into the woods, and it's not safe staying in the school here because everything's getting into the school and killing everybody anyway. So this one little ragtag group of not friends, just people who've come together are going into the woods. And eventually, there's a character, and I got to ask James about this when I did my interview. There's a character that they will meet, not in the first issue, named Dr. Robot, who is in fact a space monkey. And if you need more than that to read a book, I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. That was the teaser. Each teaser had like a character, and it said how they were, so-and-so is the wallflower, so-and-so is, the brainiac, so-and-so is, the nerd, so-and-so is the whatever. And then it said, Dr. Robot is a space monkey. And I was like, the hell is this? And I asked him, about that, and he said, I'm like, what is that? And he goes, well, he's a space monkey. I don't know what else to tell you. Every book should have a space monkey. I was like, I think you're right. New Warriors, number 4. Really good. The team sort of comes together, then denies having come together. So there's that. I love how happy Hummingbird is to be considered part of, we're going to be superheroes. And Scarlet Spider's like, a bunch of cursing, he's just like, fuck no. he's like, I ain't having it. The minor flaw is, and I know eventually they're supposed to address how Speedball's dealing with his Speedball issues, but there's like this bomb ready to go off and take out most of the population. They don't realize how to stop it, and Speedball's reaction is to go, Vance, it's making ominous sounding noises, this isn't going to be good. And I'm like, if you were Speedball, who's responsible and views yourself as responsible for an explosion that killed a school, I don't see you joking about an explosion that you may or may not be responsible for again that's going to kill a planet. That doesn't seem like joke, that seems like bad flashback, fetal position under a desk moment. So that one little flaw threw me, but not enough to get mad at this book because it's got Speedball in it. And it's got they just took a shit ton of my favorite characters that nobody cared about, threw them in with a bunch of new characters that will quickly become my kind of favorite characters, and then said, here, and somehow made other people besides me buy it and care. So therein lies a miracle in and of itself. Plus, Speedball does call Sam, the new Nova, he calls him Kid Nova. That made me happy. Real Heroes number 2. This picks up, this is the Brian Hitch written and drawn book, so it's beautiful. But the idea is the cast of the Olympians, which is like, it's like a world like ours, and the Olympians is a comic book, like the Avengers, and it gets turned into a movie, like the Avengers. But it turns out, in an alternate world, they were real. They've been killed by a hero called Brainchild, who's like a little guy with a big brain. Who, and they're like, Brain, and they get to this world like, Brainchild's real? He's killing people? Like, he's Peter Dinklage. I play poker with him, because apparently Peter Dinklage plays him in the movies within this world. But in this world, it's real, and someone escapes from that world, gets the actors, brings them back, and goes, look, I want to just try and tell the world that we should all act together. I need you to film this short film and act like you're the hero. So they get to play them in the real world, and then they're going to go back home. Doesn't work like that, because, of course, Brainchild shows up. And Brainchild doesn't even seem entirely bad in the, his plan to discuss things, as it were, with these guys, doesn't go well. And there's a close-up picture where you can even see, because Hitch is just that good an artist, you can even see that it looks like it could be Peter Dinklage with a lot of prosthetics. You can see the Peter Dinklage-esque face with the prosthetics for the brain and alienosity in there, so it's pretty damn cool. And they've got some real life problems, and they're clearly not heroes. In fact, some of them are just downright spoiled, whiny little actors who won't make the best heroes, but now they're sort of stuck in this world. She-Hulk #4, so damn good, so damn good. Charles Soule, so damn good. Brian Pulido, no, not Brian Pulido. I don't know which Pulido this is. This is Javier Pulido. Charles Soule, Javier Pulido. Beautiful book. Guest stars Daredevil. They wrap up the Christoph, the son of Dr. Doom story, with an actual conversation with Dr. Doom. She doesn't defeat him legally. She doesn't defeat him physically. She defeats him logically and just kind of says, hey, this is what's going on. And he's like, really? And he talks to us. And it's just brilliant because of two reasons. One, She-Hulk is not just the bruiser that her cousin is. She retains her intelligence as She-Hulk. So, this isn't Savage She-Hulk. So her thinking it through is brilliant. But even more importantly, Doctor Doom isn't just a bad guy. He's a brilliant. He's a ruler. He's just a brilliant man. I don't know if scientist is the right word because he's a little more arcane. But there's everything Doctor Doom does. He does for a reason. It's Doom's reasons. But if you can, relate to that and get Doom to think about, well, here's your own logic. It's brilliant. And Daredevil was written so well that I was surprised that there wasn't a little footnote in here that said that Mark Waid came in and just wrote him in, and Charles Soule did his homework. They mentioned an older Spidey story. There was some good stuff thrown in here. So this was so well done. Also, it's so well done. The Sixth Gun.
Words?
None. No words. So good that I have no words. And I realize that for some of you who didn't follow over from my former show on my former site, if you've only watched the, 8th, 9th episode, maybe, is it the 10th? Are we up to 10?
Maybe.
10th episode of F3G2, you should still know that I'm a talky motherfucker. So if I don't have any words, that's a hell of a thing. And that's how good Cullen Bunn and Brian Hurt and Bill Crabtree's Sixth Gun is. I have no words. It's number 40, which sounds to you like, oh my God, I could never get into it. But first off, everything you need to know is brilliantly right here on this little cover. And just buy those trades, bitch. This is good.
What are you up to now? 6?
Yeah. Something like that. Ooh. And then there's the Sixth Gun, Sons of a Gun book. It's just good. Miles Morales, Ultimate Spider-Man. They keep talking about how in the Ultimate comic, they just had, Cap and Thor, a whole bunch of people all went off missing. And they keep talking about how the big difference between Ultimate Comics and the Marvel 616 mainstream universe is that in this universe, dead means dead.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, fuck it. Clearly not so much. Something may very well be going on here, but if you think you guessed what you thought you guessed, you were guessing when they told you that featuring the last page that'll make fans scream. I didn't scream because I suspected that was exactly what was going to be on the last page. Yeah. Everything's up in the air. There may be a reason that this is now called Miles Morales, the Ultimate Spider-Man, because we may need to differentiate between Spider-Man. Oh, Magic Hands wants to look. There you go, Magic Hands. You can look at that behind the camera. But yes, Return of the Green Goblin, who also we thought was dead, but apparently you're not dead unless if Nick Fury wants the world to think you're dead. It looks like you're dead. But yeah, somebody else may not be so dead. What? Could be. Let's just give you his. I thought it was odd when they killed Peter Parker in the 616 verse because I thought that's weird how they're just ripping off their own story from from the Ultimate verse. But apparently the walls between dimensions are thick. So Peter just came back in the 616 universe. wonder if it could appear, at least for the moment, that something similar could happen in the Ultimate Universe. I wonder. Suicide Risk, number... Blink, blink. Number 13. Lucky number 13. Explains so goddamn much. I love this book, and every time I think I understand this book, I get a new little piece. It's like a puzzle that you think you're done with, and then you realize, what? There's another piece, but where the hell could... And it's just... This book is so good. Go get the trade. There's one, possibly two out. I think two.
Two.
Yeah, because I just bought the second one. So, go buy the two trades, come back, read this, and post it in the comments. Oh my God, Seb, you were so right. I will never doubt you again. And welcome, my dorkish overlord, in ruling my pull list. You're welcome. Too bad you didn't buy the movement, bitches. The Wake. Pirates. So good. So weird, because it just kind of jumped and it's like, la 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 la, future. Meh. But, I'm liking it. I was actually deeply concerned for a dolphin in a comic book. Who knew? Who knew indeed? Amazing Spider-Man, Who Am I? This is free. Free's good. Dorks love free. They can afford it. This is the first chapter of The Amazing Spider-Man, Who Am I? By Joshua Fialkov. Amnesiac Spidey. He comes to in the middle of a bank robbery. Has no idea who the hell he is. And the bank robbers are talking to him like he's one of them. Very fun little cartoony style that I kind of like, and I'm digging it. I don't do digital comics because my photosensitive, colorblind, various other problem, nearsighted eyes just can't handle it. It hurts me. It hurts me. And I get like migraine, and I always get migraines, and I don't want a migraine from comics. Comics are supposed to be my friend, my salvation. Why would you betray me, comic book? But eventually they'll put it in like a full little issue or trade or something, and I'll buy that. But it seemed good, so if it wasn't for all the headaches I just discussed, I would read that on Infinite Comics. Amazing Spider-Man Learning to Crawl. This is the untold, in between Amazing Fantasy 15 and Amazing Spider-Man #1. This is the untold story that took place in that little gap in Spidey's world, where his biggest fan, another kid, figures out just enough about him to decide to become, he's going to become like a little nemesis for him called the I don't remember what.
Great name.
Clash. Because he's going to come out and sing, "This is Radio Clash on Pirate Satellite, orbiting your living room, clashing at the below right." But, which as villains go, that would be distracting to me. You know, I'd be like, what? I'm magnificent! But
He'll be the Marvel Music Meister.
yeah, you know, could happen. The only thing I didn't like about this was good. And a lot of the art was it's very, very old school. It's like, who's the artist on this? So I can give them the kudos. Ramon Perez draws in such a way that it is like Chris Samney and Steve Ditko had a baby.
Sounds horribly talented.
It is horribly talented. It also just sounds horrible. But it's horribly talented. And it's really good. The only thing that threw me, and this is just a minor thing, is I'm an old school Spidey fan. Alright? I'm talking Spidey is what got me into comics. And I'm 42 years old, or I will be in 3 weeks. Almost to the day. And it was weird seeing it's Peter's origin, and it looks so close to Ditko that it looks original, but then because clearly with Peter being the age that he is in the comics, that couldn't have happened in 1964 or 1963. There's like smartphones and and it just looks like this like reverse anachronistic like what if Steve Ditko drew it with this stuff in there? It's like, what? Did you just like Photoshop modern technology into a Steve Ditko comic? And that threw me. But that's probably more a me thing than an actual critique.
Sounds kind of dry.
Aquaman and the others is good. I don't see it lasting long. It's number 2. I don't see it lasting long because I don't.
You like it.
Yeah, because I like it, and that seems to be a kiss of death for these kind of things. I mean, it's Aquaman, and I'd like to see it last long enough just to prove that Aquaman can carry off not 1 but 2 titles. And I love the others, and the story is really, really good. Jurgens is knocking it out here. And who's drawing this? If I was a credits page, I would say Lan Medina with Alan Martinez on inks. So is really, really good, and it's got a nice little insight that I'm both happy and sad with from my boy. I love Prisoner of War. My favorite character in the New 52. Love him, love him, love him. The only way they could make me happier is if the New 52 introduced a character that only existed in Flashpoint.
Oh, yes.
I need myself some Canterbury Cricket. Need. But anywho, his thing is that he can talk to the ghosts of soldiers. Originally, it seemed like he could talk to the ghost of pretty much any fallen soldier. In this, it makes it a little more poignant to him, but seems to limit the ghosts he can pull out of his ass, so to speak. That these were people that he was actually in combat with and was in charge of, and they died, and he feels responsible. And they'd made a pact. Apparently, he and all these soldiers, they had made a promise that if any of them fell, whoever was left would take care of their families and get it known to them. And that's why he has all of these ghosts. So it's his own little private haunting, which on the one hand is really cool and makes it a lot more. That gives it a lot more depth and nuance and impact. But on the other hand, it limits the ghosts in his arsenal as such as it is. And so I was both happy and sad by that. But I don't care. He's in an ongoing book, so I don't care. If you kill him, DC, I will come for you. We'll be like, I'll be getting all Rambo, and you'll be like, Murdoch, Jurgens, coming for you.
Yes, and then they will stomp you under their heel.
Yeah, I didn't say I'd be effective. Garth Ennis's Caliban, number 2 from Avatar. Earthship, deep space, kind of hyperdrive, wormhole-esque mission. Alien ship, same hyperspace, wormhole-y thing.
Oh, yes.
They don't crash. They kind of occupy the same space at the same time. Merge, a lot of people dead. The ship that they're in is a big hulking freighter filled with formaldehyde jarred alien specimens, and they don't know who's flying the ship or who's whatever. So it's problematic, and something seems to be going on with the crew now. What? One of those aliens inside kind of things. So cool, so spooky. This is like the greatest decent budget indie sci-fi movie that you're like, what? Oh yeah, I heard of that. It got limited release. It's really good. And you rent it on Blu-ray and go, holy fuck, this is awesome. This is what that is as a comic book.
Sweet.
Not saying that it's based on any, whatever. Just saying it's got that feel.
Yeah.
All right. Justice League 3000. It's like a guilty pleasure of mine. It's a mess. Who cares? It's Justice League 3000. Number 6. All right, it's a mess. It's a total mess. But I like it. I'm one of those people who can tell you I have a lot of my favorite movies on DVD and Blu-ray, and the movies themselves are crap, but I love them. This, like the other one, was a really cool, decent budget indie movie feel. This is that crap movie that when your friends come over, they look and go, oh my god, you've got Justice League 3000. I'm like, I know, right? They're like, this movie's horrible. I'm like, yeah. They're like, you want to watch it? You're like, yeah, fuck yeah. And you pop that shit in and laugh your asses off and drink a little. This is that.
Is that your Thanksgiving?
This could be my Thanksgiving. Hal Jordan is awesome in this. It's ultimately, as much as the concept is weird and everything's kind of a cluster, it's still Giffen and DeMatteis, and those boys can write and they work well together. So once you get past, it's really, you got to read this in like a frozen state of mind. Right? You have to have a little Ice Queen singing, "Let it go, let it go," because just let it go, man. This is not what you thought it would be, or even what you hoped it would be. It is what it is, and yeah, it's a guilty pleasure. I know it's a hot mess, but I have to keep reading it, and I'm going to. Screw you. Superman, Batman #10. This was good. Carl Kerschel did the art. Jeff Lemire wrote it. Jeff Lemire, that's good. See that guy there? You're like, what the hell with that weird little helmet? Looks almost like what? And you look closer, and that design on the costume looks familiar. That's the Atom. In fact, he even takes his code name on at the end. This is the introduction of Ray Palmer calling himself the Atom and acting in costume for the first time. Not as a superhero. He's still not going the superhero route. He's still like science adventurer. But that shit never sells as a comic, so eventually they'll just have to throw him on something and go with that. Because he's... But I was very happy, one, to have Ray Palmer Atom, and two, just with this whole issue. I really liked it. Swamp Thing #31. Oh my God, Charles Soule again. That man can write. That man can write and write really, really well. Jesus Saez does the art. I love Jesus Saez. So this whole book just makes me happy. It introduces the Gray to the New 52 as, all right, they kind of mind jumped, a group of people acting like they were there for the Avatar, said to Swamp Thing, hey, we can jump you into a human body so you can have a day as an actual person. And, and they did, and he did it, and of course he got Vampire Lestat in the Tale of the Body Thief. He comes to and goes, what? Because they try to kill him, and his buddies save him, but it turns out they made off with the Swamp Thing body, and he's stuck in this other body that his avatarness is burning through and will eventually die. He meets someone else who does the same thing, but she doesn't like going back to her avatar body. She was the avatar of the Gray, the molds and spores and fungi. He's like, oh, so you've got your body? She goes, yeah, because I have to jump into it before I can jump into another human body. So he's like, brilliant, and he jumps into her body and just takes it, because she's in a human body right now, and goes to get his body back. And then is going to use it to jump in. And there's a lot of jumping going on, but it was so well done and so good. It's such a brilliant ending to that storyline, and a brilliant, continuation of the overarching storyline of what's going on with the Parliament of Trees now that he's made them human, and his understanding through seeing the loneliness of the Gray, of what he's done to the Green. And then it sets up with, as we know, next issue is a tie-in of sorts. It's with Aquaman, because the story continues in Aquaman 31, but then Swamp Thing 32 is the same story from Swamp Thing's point of view. So they're going to have like a little dust-up, a little superhero fight, and then we're going to see, why Aquaman thinks he's fighting the Green and Swamp Thing, and why Swamp Thing thinks it happened. And they're not, two sides to every coin, not the same thing. Teen Titans Forever. Best thing I can say about this is it's over. This is annual #3, but who gives a fuck? Best thing I can say about this is it's over. It actually is, in and of itself, it's a decent issue. There was a surprise at the end that I'm going to spoil for you in a second. Most of the ending, it wraps things up, sort of, but then it sets that, the next Titans thing is coming, and it doesn't seem like there was so much communicating going on there. However, in a thing that I loved the possibility of, but hated the actuality of, you ready for another spoiler? In 3, 2, 1. Superboy Kal-El is not dead. He's dead, but he's not dead. He died, and now he's become the Silver Surfer of the DCU. He is the herald to the Oracle, which is that big weird alien thing that shows up and just kind of points at shit when bad stuff's happening. It's been in the Superman books and doesn't really seem to have a purpose other than clumsy exposition, but he's there. And now he's kind of the herald, even though in his new form, really he looks like the Metal Man and an OMAC and the Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle had a baby, and it was that. And it's kind of his consciousness there, but there's his new body or whatever. But what this means is, well, I think that in and of itself is kind of dumb. That means he's there and could eventually become Superboy or somebody else again. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Moon Knigget, number 3, was good. A bit odd. I don't know what to make of this new Moon Knight series. I really liked the issue number 2. Number 1 I liked, but was very Number 2 I liked, but I'm very So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Moon Knight might be great. I'm just not always feeling it. I mean, which is okay because it's Moon Knight. You know, it takes us. You got to be in a special place for Moon Knight anyway. Archer and Armstrong number 20 is good. This is it's Archer and Armstrong versus versus Jim Morrison, who's not dead and is the leader of his own cult, the Church of Retroology, which is apparently one of the sects of whatever. He is the Lizard King, and it guest stars Kurt Cobain missing the back of his head, so that's a hell of a thing. It's fun, it's good, and it's highly irreverent, especially if you worship pop culture.
What the hell?
Batman Eternal number 5 was really, 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 really good. The art is by Andy Clark, and it's freaking gorgeous. Super gorgeous. It's got a lot of Tim Drake, so I was happy. It's got Tim Drake and Harper Row and her brother Cullen. And it's got Vicky Vale. Vicky Vale tells off this new reporter who really just does more of what reporting has become in this internet age. You just kind of write nonsense little fluff pieces and act like they're news. So there's a lot of social commentary shoved into the back and forth exchanges between Vicky Vale and this cub reporter. But she goes to find out about if the underworld knows what's going on with Falcone. She bites off a lot more than she can chew. Needs to be saved by Harper Row, who then in turn they all need a kind of bailout and more trouble dropped in their lap, literally, by what Tim Drake is up to. Tim and Batman is a little bit. It's not exactly hug and kisses in Bat Family these days, but they're kind of. There's a lot of that going on. Clone number 16. So good. This book is never happy. Ever. But it is so good. I could explain it to you, but I won't. Just read it. Just go get the trades. I think the first trade's like a $9.99 trade. I may be wrong. But go read it either way. It's good. Critter. It looks like no one, but it's $1. $1 issue number 20. Right? It's Critter for $1. Really? How can you go wrong? You can't. And this is a great jumping on point. It nicely sums up without getting all exposition-y, it nicely recounts what's happened up till now. A look at her origin, sets you right up with what's going on. You've got, giant monster fights. I love this book. I really do. I love it enough that, as I've told you before, if you watch the show, I love this book enough that I have let Tom Hutchison, the writer, creator, I have let him borrow my own character, Cat 5, to be in this book twice, because that's how much I like this book.
We'll probably continue to do so.
And and if he ever needs her again, she's literally that. Those heroes that don't commit to team books, but say, well, if you ever need me, you know how to contact. That's Catfly. She's like, if you ever need me, just call and I'll be there. But it's so good. Check that out. Earth 2, number 23. Oh my lord! I can't believe I have this so close to the bottom of the pile. This blew me away. I feel for turned evil Superman. I'm loving coming into his own Val, new Superman. Everything about this is great. I am worried about World's End, the weekly that's going to mess things up in this universe. Because I think I like these characters better than the New 52. Because this was a total fresh start, whereas the New 52 was half tweaks, partial tweaks, what the fuck tweaks, really cool tweaks, all kind of merged together. This was a total, we started over with these characters. And it was muy brillante. Just not. Green Arrow, number 31. Is good. This brings the Outsiders War to a close. Jeff Lemire is just killing it with this book, and Andrea Sorrentino. This book is so good. I say it every time I do the review. Green Arrow started out as one of those books that was kind of, it floundered for like the longest time. Just managed on its third try, it managed to not only just dodge being canceled, but to really just become one of the best things in the in the New 52. Epic number 1. I read number 0. It was a free comic day thing. I think
So.
Yeah, I read it, and I know I reviewed it. The idea is it's drawn by the same guy who draws Cat 5. So this is Figo Osio, but this is a kid who gets superpowers in a lab experiment gone wrong. It comes all sorts of like Superman. He's got the flight and the strength and the whole 9 yards. His weakness, though, is he loses it around hot chicks. And it turns out there's a reason they look in it. His powers come from his friend does a little study, and he says your powers, super strength, speed, flight, near invulnerability, and optic energy projection, are regulated by the caudate or caudate nucleus, a region in the central brain controlling voluntary motor functions. Whenever activity to the caudate spikes, your powers shut down. All right, there are a number of possible triggers, but primarily it's being around girls you're attracted to. So if he thinks a girl's hot, it spikes the levels in that brain, cancels out his powers. So he can be around, as he puts it, normal girls. He just can't be around hotties. So yeah, that's his. This also introduces his villain, Daddy Longlegs, who's kind of a tragic villain, because he's this altruistic, like, special agent who just has like adopted 13 kids because he himself was an orphan. He gets bitten by this weird giant spider somewhere in on one of his missions, and by the end of the book, he has turned into that same weird giant spider. Clearly, he's going to go bad as a result. And yes, of course, in true comic book tradition, his last name is Webb, W-E-B-B. So Mr. Webb gets bitten, and because he's the adoptive father of a bunch of kids and turns into a spider, he will be Daddy Longlegs. Clever and well done. Loki, Agent of Asgard. So good. Loki, you've got Loki trying to trick Sigurd, who's trying to trick Loki, who's trying to trick is it Kalu Kashnu? Who's he trying to trick? He's trying to trick Kalu. However, there's a twist. Mephisto tries to trick all of them, and then Loki is going to try and trick all of them and Mephisto. There's a lot of trickery going on. Really well done. And then it will turn out that Loki does have a nobler sense, even if it means getting himself in trouble. He wants to help the people that Asgard's been sending him on missions. Those missions are to get wayward Asgardians and send them back to Asgard. So they're getting sent back to Asgard for no real crime other than being on Earth and then being locked up. So Loki is putting together his own team for the sole purpose of going to Asgard and freeing the people that Loki helped imprison. And until you've seen Thor in just a pair of jeans, workers' boots, and an AHA t-shirt sitting on Loki's couch with a beer, you haven't truly understood comics and what they can be. Magneto, really, really good. There's a place humans are trying to build where they can hide from mutants and keep themselves separate. Not to attack mutants, or so they say, but to keep themselves from being attacked by mutants. Kind of like the human equivalent, an underground human equivalent of the island of Genosha that was originally it was a place to keep mutants as slaves, but eventually Magneto made it as the mutant country until Sentinels kind of blew it up. So there's a lot of juxtaposing of what's going on and how badly that could go, through the greatest intents, just like Magneto had great intentions, and he ended up just putting everybody in one big spot where it was nice and easy to kill them all. So there's a lot of conflict and then inner conflict. It's man versus machine, man versus nature, man versus self, man versus man. It's all the big conflicts of the literary sect all in one book. It's just really, really, really good. So Cullen Bunn is just kicking ass on this. It's number 3, by the way. Invincible Universe Trade Volume 2, collecting the last 6 issues, number 7 through 12 of Invincible Universe, apparently, which canceled that, which makes me sad. I feel I didn't support it by buying it in trades instead of in issues, but I buy Invincible in trades and not in issues, and that's been doing well. So I'm sorry, Todd Knock, that I let you down. But you're on Nightcrawler, so I'm there for you in volume and in trade for that. Really, really good. Lots of fun. It's got a character, Mantis. That makes me happy. He's like a big bug. And then it's got the Lizard League stepping themselves up to become kick-ass. It's got a guy named Red Eye who's got, through some interesting alien intervention, he's basically got a slightly scaled down version of
Mega Beams?
Yeah, because they do the whole go around and get people thing. And then it's got Invincible, it's got the other Invincible, and it's got a whole story just for is it Bruiser, the little French bulldog that's on the team, the super powered, super intelligent French bulldog. There's a whole issue just for the dog. Brilliant, superly well done issue. Really good. $16.99. Get that. You won't have to worry about another trade series, because there's only going to be 2 because this book is done. And speaking of done, so am I. So I now return you to your regularly scheduled, Grumpy Cat and fail video perusing.